He is one of the best content creators in the game, one of the voices of UK boxing. You know him as Mr. Energy. I know him as Mr. Energy. We are delighted to welcome Mr. David Alorka with the new episode of Sit Down with Sanderson. Sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Yes, David, how are you doing, my bro?
I am blessed. I'm blessed. What an intro, bro. What an absolutely sensational intro, bro.
Nah, it's facts, man. It's facts. Look, I've had the pleasure of knowing you for years now. And look, one thing I do want to say before we get off and start getting into it, you have not changed one bit, bro. You've always been gracious. You've always been humble. You've always been fun to be around, energetic. So, bro, whatever you're doing behind the scenes, keep it going, man, because you're an inspiration to myself and many others, bro. And it's a pleasure to have you doing this, man.
Nah, crazy love, my bro. Crazy love. It's a pleasure being on as well. It's a pleasure being asked to be on. And it's just great seeing your work as well, seeing how far you've come, seeing how the consistency that you're putting into your work as well, man. It's sensational, bro. So just keep pushing on and keep pressing on with it, man. I saw a video of you recently with KG that had me in absolute tears. So I'm telling you. So,
yeah, KG, man. But do you know what? It's my fault. I started a beef with one of the best comedians about, and I'm not ready for the beef. Like, I'm never gonna win this beef. Never. So, it's my own fault. But bro, let me start off by asking, how did you get into doing content, and how did you get from being at the beginning to where you are now, bro?
I started getting into content right through me and my boys. So it started through Cheeky Sport. Joe had a brilliant concept some years ago. He was the brainchild of Cheeky Sport, and he had a brilliant concept based around the banter that we have in our WhatsApp conversations, our WhatsApp groups. Not just my WhatsApp group with him, but his other WhatsApp groups with loads of other different people. And he had this concept, this idea of let's actually take this conversation from the WhatsApp group into real life. Let's take it, let's make it live, and let's get all these people, these characters in one room, and let's get some of these football debates off, and let's start hearing some people's takes and get their characters going. Because when you watch a lot of TV and you watch a lot of programs, be it over here in the UK or in the US, you realize that it's all just about personalities. And I think Joe clocked onto that quite early. And so he got us together. We had held like different debate shows for quite a consistent period. And then what happened was he spoke to a small member of us lot and was like, he wants us to come on board and help drive Cheeky Sport forward. Which me, myself, and Akeem ended up, taking that call, and we were strong parts of Cheeky Sport for the majority of what people know it as. And from that perspective, I think what happened was we sat down, we spoke about what we're going to do. We kind of strategized. We're like, we can't organize these debate shows on a consistent enough basis to get enough traction, because there's too many people doing different jobs and so on and so forth. So we need to have some filler content. And so the base of the filler content was to go to stadiums and bring this banter to fans. And funny enough, it wasn't intended on myself anyway, and I think even Joel as well, sorry, to even be presenters in it. It was to find our presenters to do it and to host it from that perspective. But nobody had it. Nobody had the source, the zhuzh that we were looking for. And like I've always had a performing arts background. I've always been in and around the stage. I love that side of stuff as well. In it. So just being out there, that stuff just came natural with fans, with people. I'm quite a people person. So just being able to buzz around and crack some joke and to banter if a team is winning or your team's losing in a light-hearted way, but that brings out character from people. So that's literally where it came from. And then before you realized, we clocked on that we could actually catch players after games and that. And it was like some of the first experiences of me actually seeing professional footballers in real life. So some of my initial reactions were so natural, because I was just like, I remember seeing Harry Kane, and I didn't have it. People were getting into sign things, and I didn't have nothing to sign. I was like, sign my face. Like, it was just like I didn't have no like. I was just like, that's where like certain terms came from, like sign my face, sign my hand, because it was like it's literally like I don't have anything. I have nothing. I haven't come here ready and prepared. Just sign something. And
I hear it.
And that's where that came from. And that stuff started getting viral. And before you realize, a lot of the brands that work with, because right now football is a lot more on the social level when it comes to content, right? But back then it weren't like that. And you couldn't really see and get to know the personalities of these players, of these athletes. And so brands like Nike called us to start working with their athletes across football, then across basketball, and across NFL, because we had that ability to bring their natural persona out, not the one that they've been media trained for. And literally that's where it started from. And then my passions, like I said, are in people, so that spreads across different sports. So I love football, but I also love the NBA, I love the NFL, I love Formula One, and I love boxing. And so my progression moved throughout different sports, and that's how I found myself in the boxing space right now.
Love it, man. I'll be honest with you, Cheeky Sport, I've always had a lot of love for Cheeky Sport. Cheeky Sport actually gave me my very first opportunity to do any content on camera. It was Jay, because me and him go to the same barber, and he was like, we always used to banter each other, as we did the Power League as well.
Yes.
And like he just one day was just like, Cal, come on the show with us. And I was like, no, I'm not doing camera stuff. And he's like, Cal, you won't even realize there's a camera there. And I was, for weeks and weeks, he was on to me, and I was like, Jay, I'm not doing it. And one day he was like, Cal, just do it, just trust me. I did it, fell in love with it, and I'm still doing it now. So without Cheeky Sport, there would be no me either. So Cheeky Sport, you guys are pioneers as well. I think people don't realize just how many things you've done to break down barriers and just to change the game in terms of content creation around sports in this country. So kudos to you guys, man. You've laid the blueprint and a fantastic foundation for everyone. You spoke about your love for boxing, bro. When did that love affair start, and how did it start?
It started in the early years, to be honest with you. It started in the early years from watching late night fights in the US in the 90s, from Mike Tyson, from Tyson when Tyson fought Bruno. Like, there was like, it started way back then. Like, I met Muhammad Ali when he came to Brixton and I was a child. Like, I met Mike Tyson because he went to my barbers in Brixton when he came. Because everyone used to come, like everyone that was like hard used to come to Brixton, innit? And that's where I grew up. So, like, anytime any of these lot were in town, I went down to go and see them. So that's where my love affair with boxing started, and it's just been consistent throughout time. But I just remember getting the opportunity to work in it for the first time, and I just grabbed that thing with both hands, and I just didn't look back since. And that's when the trajectory of like football to boxing just started moving a different. Yeah.
No, I hear it. Is that the same barbershop Floyd was in?
Yeah. Same barbershop that Floyd was in. Yeah.
That's quite a popular barbershop. Again, I grew up in Thornton Heath, so not Brixton, but obviously being from Thornton Heath, you in and around Brixton. Everyone knows about that barbershop. Yeah. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get it now. I get it. Obviously, boxing has its highs. You spoke about when Tyson was on top and Muhammad Ali, etc. Boxing did go for a low spell though, and then on the scene came His Excellency Turkey. What would you say has happened since his sort of inception of Riyadh season, and how do you think it's changed and shifted the momentum of boxing, especially in combat? Because you look at how MMA was developing, and a lot of people are starting to say MMA is taken over from boxing. Turkey said, "Hold my drink, we got this boxing back." How would you say the impact has happened, and what do you think the main changes have been?
Yeah, no, the impact's been incredible, to be honest with you. Obviously, initially when it first started, there was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of people were quite concerned with the way in which it was going to go. People were kind of concerned with, whether or not they're going to be able to make big fights happen. Because I think initially when Saudi got involved in boxing at that level, then we had AJ versus Ruiz, the rematch, and then we ended up having then we ended up having AJ versus Usyk as well, the rematch as well in Saudi, but that was under Skills Challenge. That weren't under His Excellency.
Yeah.
His Excellency kind of got involved with Queensbury at the time, and then I think he did a card with. I don't think he did the Mayweather card, but he did a Jake Paul card, and he was like, "That's it. I'm not doing any more of those fights anymore." And his introduction to boxing has been phenomenal for the boxing fan. I think it's been phenomenal for the boxing fan. I think it's been phenomenal for the boxer. I think it's been phenomenal for the promotional companies, for the broadcasters. I think it's been great for absolutely everybody, because boxing, like you said, was in a downturn simply because the big fights couldn't happen, simply because the money got in the way of it happening. Egos and money got in the way of it happening, and Turkey just came in and just said, okay, we're not gonna do this purse split business. I'm just gonna negotiate the contract with you, and then I'm gonna negotiate your contract with you, and then we're gonna get it on. And it has been an absolute revelation. Like you said, UFC was killing it. Yeah. Because UFC, their model is actually fantastic for them as a business, because they're paying their fighters in relative terms peanuts, right? Yeah. And they're getting their fighters to fight each other all throughout different divisions, different weight classes. Yeah. And boxing for a long time that has been absolutely impossible. But Turkey's changing the game. Even like when it comes to pay-per-view prices for the customer, he's setting the price. Like, it's mad that he's actually like saying to the broadcasters, you're going to charge 20 quid. Yeah. He ain't going to charge $29.99. He ain't going to charge $24.99, $26.99. There was like, the prices were getting nuts. Like, UK. So it's incredible what he's been able to do for the product. And it's incredible what he's been able to do for the fan, delivering the fights that people want to see consistently, time and time again.
Completely agree. You mentioned the influence of boxing. I got to ask you, because you're a boxing connoisseur. You've been doing this for years, like myself. What's your thoughts on the influence of boxing? Because I struggle with it. I can't lie. I understand there's a market for it, but I do also struggle with it to an extent as well.
Yeah, I'm a boxing purist, right? So I love the nature of the sport of boxing, but I also love the fact that the barriers to entry to boxing are some of the lowest barriers to entry that there is in any sport, especially any professional sport, to be honest with you, because you walk around with the tools every day. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So barriers to entry are very low. So I appreciate what these guys do, because they're content creators as well, right? Yes. As somebody that's made a way in that space, and especially somebody like looking at people like the KSIs of this world, what he's done in the content scene has been absolutely phenomenal. Yes. And for people that simply live in the silo of boxing, they saw his introduction to boxing like maybe a sign of a little bit disrespectful, right? Because the sport is a gentleman's sport, but it has a warrior's code to it. Yes. But then when you look at somebody like KSI, he has stepped into many different things. He stepped into, from being a YouTuber, into music, into being a rapper, to having songs with the likes of Rick Ross and The Baby and all these people. Then into apps, then into hosting football games and selling out stadiums. Like,
food as well.
And food, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so I respect what he's done, and at the same time, I also respect the fact that it has helped to change the lives of so many other people from that perspective. So I get it. I just think it's separate to professional boxing, and I think the distinction has to be clear. It's just like somebody saying, "What do you think about white collar boxing to boxing?" Yeah, okay. Of course, it's a bit more closer to professional, but it's not pro boxing. Yes. And the distinction has to be there, and then it can keep its own lane. It can do the tag team matches that it does. It can do all that. I can do all that craziness. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like there's real wrestling. There is actual wrestling, and then there's WWE.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There is actual real wrestling. The truth is, most people are not interested in actual wrestling.
Yeah.
People are interested in the entertainment side of it. But what it has done as well is it's brought us alive the personality of boxers. The boxers realizing that they also need to build their personal brands, because when they're looking over there, they're looking and saying, "Why is my man getting paid? He's not even nowhere near as good as me." But it's like, because he's built his personal brand, he's been personable, he's created content, and that from that perspective, and that's helped change the mindset of fighters as well. So it's changed the game. It's massively changed the game. You've got channels like Matchroom had their own YouTube channel. Didn't have their own YouTube channel 6-7 years ago. Like you have all of the it's so the introduction of all of this stuff is changing the landscape, and I think it's changing the landscape for the better. There just needs to be the distinction between boxing and the influencer stuff.
Completely agree. What's it like being at the events in Riyadh season? We see you've covered quite a few. What's it actually like being there? Because on TV, like the last one, you obviously had Missy Elliott there. And again, for me, being our age, Missy Elliott, that's a big thing for us.
Yes.
How is it actually like being at the events? What's it like?
Bro, it's incredible, man. It's like Saudi Arabia is such a welcoming and hospitable place. Like it's mad because, you know, it's one of the places that a lot of people fear in the world. Oh, you're going to Saudi. You know what I mean? Initially, when it first started, but it's actually one of the most hospitable, welcoming places, and it's one of the most safest places on the planet. It's one of the only places that you could actually take off like an expensive wristwatch and leave it there, and nobody's going to touch it, because nobody wants the consequences of what that looks like. So it's very safe, very welcoming, and it's just insane, because when it first kicked off, you had all the legends of boxing there. You had Mike Tyson there, you had Lennox Lewis there, you had Roberto Duran there, you had Evander Holyfield. It was like everyone was there. Cristiano Ronaldo's there. It's like it's genuinely insane. It's so hard to put to words what it feels like being there, but they go all out and they go all in with everything. There's no expense spared. They're very intentional about what they're doing, and it's great to see the Saudi audience to growing in that space as well, because it's not just about us lot going over there. It's about building like grassroots boxing within Saudi. So obviously Mike Tyson's got a gym out there now as well. So it's just great seeing all of these things happen. It's amazing. They're doing great things.
I love to see it. I love to see it. And I think, especially here in the UK and maybe in America, we've almost been really tribalistic around sports, especially like boxing and combat sports. It's nice to see it branch out. It is nice to see it. And as you said, grassroots, that next generation in another country like a Saudi, where they can inspire the next generation, they can build on another sport. And then again, it just opens up the world to more things as well. You work a lot with Gareth A. Davis. I know Gareth A. from obviously covering MMA a lot as well. What's it like working with him? Because I've met him once. He's really, really cool guy. But when I watch him, he seems so meticulous, seems so switched on all the time. How has it been working with him? What have you learned from him in what you do?
I love that guy, to be honest with you. I genuinely love that guy. It's funny because like to many people he's quite Marmite. So if you read like some comments across boxing media, sometimes he gets a lot of stick. But he's actually a top-notch guy. He's the first person I worked with in boxing. And at that stage, my boxing knowledge compared to his was like it's like you couldn't even compare it. But he was like, we did like 3 live streams, and at no point did he make it his show. He was very aware of the skills and the talents that I brought to it, and at the same time he would ask, as somebody who's worked in boxing, so on and so forth, he'd ask my opinion and be very accepting of it from that perspective. But we've had debates, man. Me and Gareth have traveled the world together, like in boxing. Like we've been everywhere. We've been Saudi together. We've been to LA together, New York together. We've been all up and down the UK and just debated so many things. Me, I'm Team AJ. Everybody knows that Gareth A. Davis is Team Fury. Do you know what I mean? So we clashed over so many things. But that's like my brother. Like we can fight, we can argue, and so on and so forth about boxing and that. But it's always love, man. I've got mad love for him, and he's incredibly he's incredibly knowledgeable about the sport. That's what I'd say. He's incredibly knowledgeable about the sport, and he loves it. And for me, I think that's the thing that sets me apart in presenting is because I love people's loves. So it's like that's why I can go and cover cricket that I don't care about, because I love the fact that somebody cares about it and how their eyes light up when they talk about what they're passionate about. And he loves combat sports. He loves it. Yeah. And so for me, that loves people that are passionate about something, that's like it's like a perfect match. So he's a great guy.
I think that's what made your relationship, or should I say makes your relationship so easy to watch as well, is that it's so natural. And I love when two people can be passionate about different things or the same thing, but still express that. And there's no malice behind it. There's no cheap digs or anything. It's just very nice to watch. It's something that, again, something we do on my other shows as well. We'll clash about football. We know how it gets with football fans, bro. We clash about so many different nuances and different things. But when you're able to express that and speak about it, I think that's what brings everything to life. And you and Gareth do a great job of that. If I was to ask you, what would be your advice for anyone who's trying to get into this game? What would be your advice to any aspiring content creators?
My advice to anyone that's aspiring to content create, and I think from that perspective, you're somebody that hasn't really started doing it yet. It's just the start. I think a lot of times in life we mull about trying to get things right before starting. And the thing about it is the most important thing is starting. The truth is we all have the skills. Everybody has what it takes to be a content creator. Everyone's got a phone. Like it doesn't matter where in the world you are. I'm in Ghana right now, and like it doesn't matter if you're the richest person or you're low down the ladder. Everyone's got a smartphone that's got a camera. You don't have to wait till you got the Sony A7S. You ain't got to wait till you've got the red light camera, red dot camera. You literally just need to start. Somebody said I saw something recently. Actually, it's funny that you asked me that. A post earlier on, and it says, "Just make it exist first. You can make it good later." And like I saw that, and I was like, literally, that is it. Because if it exists, then you can start to tweak it. When we started, we had no idea what we. I remember like it was me and Joe. I was holding the camera. I've never filmed anything in my life. ISO was all over the place. Like you know what I'm saying, the contrast was all over the gap. You know what I mean? I remember meeting Andy Tate for the first time, and that was like the biggest person that we've met, because obviously that was right after around the time when he had that rant, and the camera light fell off, the batteries dropping all over. It was a hot mess, an absolute hot mess. But it's like we wouldn't have got to what we had got to, or we wouldn't get to where we are now if we thought, okay, let's just sit at home and practice in front of the camera, or sit down and wait until we've saved enough money to do this before being able to do that. You can start right where you are. You can switch on your camera and talk about football. You can talk about boxing. You can talk about the things that you're passionate about. You can literally just sit there and do it now, and just keep doing it. By doing it, you'll get better. By doing it, the good will come. By doing it, you'll realize whether it's worth it or not. By doing it, then you'll find yourself in a position that, you know what? I can invest in buying a better camera, or now I can invest in getting a different microphone or a different setup and so on and so forth. So I think the most important thing to do is to start. Just start.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Right, before we continue, please smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also make sure you follow David on all social media platforms. They will be in the description. Right, I'm going to hit you with quick fire questions. So 5 now. Don't even want you to think about it. The first answer that comes to your mind is boom. The fight you want to see made the most this year in boxing?
AJ Fury.
Okay, I hear it. Do you think it gets made?
That's a tough. That second question is a tough one because I know Tyson Fury is
AJ's wanted the
right
fight for you.
AJ wants to fight him. I just think if Fury comes out of retirement, if he doesn't want to, if he doesn't, this year, I don't know. It might happen next year.
Okay.
I think the fight happens, but I don't know if it happens this year.
I unfortunately don't, and I don't think it's AJ's fault, personally.
You think what?
I don't think the fight happens, but I don't think it's AJ's fault why it doesn't happen, in my opinion.
Okay. I think it happens. I think it will happen, but I think it will.
I hope so. Hope so. Who's been your favorite person to interview so far?
My favorite person I've ever interviewed so far is Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant. Peace indeed, man. Just an absolute legend of a human being in sport, but just an absolute great person. Like super down to earth. Like loves sport, loves football. Like
how is it?
Yeah, he loves football. He loves football because he grew up in. It's mad because he grew up in Italy, so he was watching Serie. He's talking about football. Like he was watching Serie A as a kid. Like, yeah. So he's talking about when his younger days he was watching, and even when he said the Serie A, the way he even pronounced it, La Serie A. I was thinking, hey, well, hold on, wait, whoa, hold on. He appreciates because. Especially speaking to a lot of Americans, they don't grow up with that being one of their sports, so they don't really respect it from that perspective. You know, obviously a lot of American sports have high-scoring games. Like basketball's high-scoring. NFL's got points that go up to like God knows, like you can be a team at 64 something, even though the points are not a goal, for example.
Yeah.
But so they look at football. You could watch a game and it could be 0-0. It's boring, right? Yeah. But he understands the game. Not just from speaking to him. I actually went to a game. I took him to a game to see Tottenham play Liverpool at Wembley when Tottenham were at the.
That was the 4-1 game, innit?
Yeah, that was a 4-1 game.
Yeah, nice one, David, bro. That was a dark day, bro. That was a dark day.
Hey, listen, your dark days are gone now. Your dark days are gone.
God willing. God willing. I went through it, bro. You know I went through it. I know. Who's one person who would be a dream interview for you?
A dream interview for me. Oh man, I'm just trying to say what I'm saying. This is supposed to be quick fire. I'm trying to think. A dream interview for me would probably be Denzel Washington. It'll be outside the sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that. I thought it'd been a sports person, but I rate it.
Yeah. Be Denzel Washington. If it's sports, it would be Sir Alex Ferguson. That for me would be the dream, absolute dream interview. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. But
I know what I'd ask him. I'd say, why did you have to win so many Prems, bro? What is the best fight you've watched live?
The best fight that I've watched live, I'll say one of the most memorable fights it's mad because the best fight I watched live, there's two. So the best fight I watched live would be Fury Wilder. I'll say Wilder Fury. I'll say the first one because the second one was incredible, but that first one there was no expectation on. I thought Tyson Fury. I thought he was going to get absolutely flat, game over. There's going to be one-way traffic. I watched Tyson Fury's first his comeback, his first two fights against Seferi and Pianeta, one in Manchester and then the other one in Ireland. It was shocking. And then after that, he went to go and fight Deontay Wilder, who was absolutely flatlining everybody.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why that game was that that fight was the best fight I watched is because so during that fight week trip, it got to the day of the fight week, and the next thing you know, the day of the fight, the group chat was going off, and they were like, "Oh, we've got good seats, we've got ringside seats, but there's a seat that's better than the others, and we're just going to put names into that." I wasn't even in the group chat, and somehow my name came out of that. You know what I'm saying? And so I ended up with the great seat, and I was sat next to Zach from Saved by the Bell on one side, yeah, and then on the other side, Triple G. I watched the fight elbow to elbow with Gennady Golovkin, and so he's like,
and at that time he was the man. He was the man.
He was the
man. Yeah, he was the
man.
guy.
Oh my days, yeah. That whole experience, that entire fight, the way in which it went, the expectation versus the way in which the fight played out, it was absolutely incredible. I even filmed like some incredible things with Gareth A. Davis. It was me and Gareth A. Davis's interview with Deontay Wilder that ended up G'ing him up to the point where he famously said,
"To this day,
to this day, to this day." So it's like all of that stuff is like so iconic. So that for me is the fight that I've had the best atmosphere, which isn't a question you asked, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Go for it. That I've experienced, it was Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano.
Well, the first one,
unbelievable. The first one, unbelievable.
Yeah.
The atmosphere in there was unbelievable. Like, I couldn't hear myself think. Like,
the Irish fans were amazing.
It was
Irish fans were fighting else.
The Irish, and then you had the Puerto Ricans in there.
Yeah, Puerto Ricans. Yes.
It was insane. It was genuinely insane.
I can imagine. Your favorite boxer of all time?
Favorite boxer of all time? My favorite boxer of all time would be Muhammad Ali. My favorite boxer that I watched in of all time would be Floyd Mayweather. I just think the guy was just unbelievable.
Absolutely.
I think it was unreal. He was unreal, and he took my love of boxing to a next level because I grew up in love with the heavyweights because of knockouts and so on and so forth. But through him, like, I love the art, the sweet science. That's where I learned to, you know what I'm saying? You know, like when you're young and that, you're drinking juice and all these high sugar juices, and then when you get older, you get used to a taste of a good red wine. You're like, See the way I'm swirling this hand like I'm holding a wine glass. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Smelling it before you drink it.
yeah, exactly. Stirring it, you know what I'm saying, to open up. And then give it trust me, that's Floyd brought that alive in me, so for sure.
I hear it. Right, before I let you go, 3 more questions, the last questions, I promise. Your biggest achievement so far as a content creator?
Wow. My biggest achievement so far as a content creator has been covering Formula One. So in 2021, I worked for Formula One during that season as their first black presenter.
Amazing.
And that for me is probably my most standout achievement. It's the sport which has before that stage throughout the years has been such a barrier to entry to people of underprivileged backgrounds and stuff like that. So it was a sport that I really wanted to get into because I love it, but it was also a challenge in my mind of like, you know, if I get there, I can get anywhere. Do you see what I'm saying? And being able to do that was incredible. So I'd say that.
Big up for that, man. One thing you're grateful for in life?
One thing I'm grateful for in life is my belief in the Almighty. I think for me, I think that has carried me the most through every single trial, every single tribulation. Like, my faith and belief in Jesus has been like so paramount to the way in which I try to live my life. Doesn't mean that I'm a perfect human being. It kind of means the opposite. It means I understand that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the grace and favor that I have in life because of that. So I think it's kept me humble. It births in me a love for people as well, like
Yeah.
beyond what is probably normal. So yeah.
I love that answer. Love that answer. We need to speak offline about that as well.
For sure, bro, for sure.
And one thing you'd love to achieve before it's all said and done.
One thing I love to achieve before it's all said and done, I want to act. I haven't done anything about it in life.
Okay.
I haven't done anything about it, but I should. But I need to. That's like I said. That's where I started. That's where my actual passion has been in. But I haven't since like A level, since like college.
Yeah.
I haven't actually done anything about it. I've been more busy and occupied. But I think at some stage I'm gonna look towards stepping in that direction.
We need to make that happen. David,
Yeah,
I can't thank you enough, bro. I reached out to you, what was it, last week, and you got back to me straight away, and we've done this today. I know you're a busy man as well, so thank you so much for making the time, man. I really do appreciate it. Please tell the people where they can find you and where they can support you in any upcoming projects you have going on that you want to share with people.
Most definitely. First and foremost, I just want to say to everybody, listen, thanks for watching. Please definitely get in the comments and definitely hit the like button, smash that bad boy up, and subscribe to my boy's channel for sure.
Thank
you. You can catch me and follow me across social media just at my full name, David Alorka. I have recently just kicked off a boxing YouTube channel called The Squared Circle.
Yes.
So you can look for that on YouTube as well. And yeah, just watch out for me stepping into different sports. I think one of the things I want to do this year is get involved in tennis, another sport that I absolutely love. So I definitely want to get involved in covering quite a bit of tennis this year. So we'll see what we can do.
Can't wait to see it. People, thank you all for watching, listening. David, again, you're a legend, bro. Keep on doing what you're doing and breaking down those barriers and achieving greatness, man. We're all watching and we're all supporting, bro. So thank you. People, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. This has been another episode of Sit Down with Sanderson. My name is Callum. Till we see you again, take care.